do that it allowed Nima Galaxy to kind of adapt their style quite a bit to how Koops can perform to his best.
If you're Nigma Galaxy, you don't need an IGL. You just need to, oh, Koops is engaged. We just follow Koops.
Enable him.
No, just enable Koops exactly to kind of take these fights, because clearly, as you said, he is the spearhead of these scenarios. He is the one that is leading the charge for this fight. And a lot of the time, it's very successful when it works out that way. And the rest of the team, sure, they can frag out. We know Lord, we know Freak, we know how Ralph can also pop off in these matches. But clearly, it's just the setup around Koops. If he gets knocked, pick him up. You want to keep him alive as much as possible, which is what I wanted to see almost from Quest with Al-Hajir, but it's just not been the case. Al-Hajir's been going out early, so it goes to show how important it is to keep a star player like Koops alive until the very end, because it increases your odds of winning those matches pretty significantly. So yeah, I hope that it's going to work out for them, though. If you're looking also on this graphic, Radio Seal, currently Reject, we had some great moments, right, Kalaris, in the group stage, but they've been a little bit invisible currently at the start of this tournament. There's still a bit of time for them to come back and hopefully qualify for the last chance, but Reject have not had the start I was expecting, and that might be also off the back of that long break between Group Green and now this point of the tournament.
Honestly, I have a bit of a grim outlook for Group Green, in my opinion. Also take a look at some of the highlights, because I mean, what, you've got 6 of their teams not able to make it happen yesterday, right? I think Alter Ego was the top out of those 6 teams with 22 points, and that's kind of why I focused on them a little bit in my VOD review from day to day, because I do feel like Alter Ego is the one that can try and get out of that rut that Group Green has put themselves in yesterday, because it is their last chance today. So much so that I do believe that Alter Ego will make some big changes coming in today. Like, for example, I think that they're going to go north on Sandhawk because N-Hyper goes down towards Camp Charlie, which was a backup drop since they moved away from that northwest island, for example. So we'll see if that actually pans out here today. But yeah, I think they've got a tall mountain to climb as Group Green today, for the most part.
I will say this, I'm 100% in agreement with you, Claris, but one thing we can't forget about is that the difference between 16th place and 8th place is 15 but once, obviously, if you're Melissa in the situation, that's over doubling your points, but it's not that big of a gap at the moment, so it's really going to come down to those potential 1, 2, 3 points. That means whether you're into the last chance or your unfortunately PMGC run will be done. So it's still extremely close, but yeah, it is kind of eye-opening, Max, as we look at Group Green just struggling down towards the bottom of the leaderboard.
Yeah, actually, I got a few numbers right now. Group Yellow, on average, have 40.5 points. Group Green have 26.3. So there's a pretty significant disparity between the teams that are between these two groups. It is going to be a bit rough. There's room for them to, of course, catch up here, but as we know, for the survival stage, it's only 2 days. The team of Group Green only have 6 matches remaining to have an impact on the leaderboards. And after, I think, Kalaris in esports, this is always the worst scenario to be in. You just got to stay and watch and just hope that the other teams around you don't perform well, which is the most insane situation to be in, because you just cannot have the impact you're hoping for anymore.
No, for sure. It's a terrifying prospect to actually kind of stare down. For Rejects, of course, I think that obviously right now they got themselves 17 points yesterday. Compare that to the group stage that they had, which was 188 points in total. For me, I don't know if 2 days is enough for Rejects and rotating lobbies for them to gain traction, because Rejects' performances came in the latter stages of their group as a whole, compared to some of the earlier days and the early results. That said, as well, there's some uncharacteristic numbers that came out from yesterday. Procedure, for example, only 10 eliminations across 6 games. This is a team that can get that in 1 game, no problem, considering what we saw from them in the group stage. So my eyes are also on them, aside from Alter Ego, because I just think that they're capable of more.
100%. I completely agree, and unfortunately just not seen out of them and the Twins. But you know what, obviously rotating groups, I think for me, as you kind of mentioned, right, like we have rotating groups, it kind of doesn't favor some of the teams. But for me, PMGC is always about finding the best all-around team, because there's so many different kind of mini tournaments within tournaments, right? You have your group stage where you play out the same teams over the course of 3-4 days. Then you have this event where you have rotating groups, you have to be adaptive. Then you get to the grand finals where it's going to be a sprint, or I guess the last stage coming up in just 2 days, where it's really a sprint, right? With just 2 days of play. You got to be good all around, and we're going to find the team to be just that, hopefully, very, very soon. But one team I did want to focus on, just really quickly, because I want to throw this out there in case it happens. Influence Rage. You're so far in the lead, there should be no chance you're ever going to fall into the bottom 8. Do you start to hot drop on some teams' potential, start to kind of put yourself in rotational paths of some of the teams, well, obviously not them because not playing here, maybe Mad Bulls is a better case in the situation, to punish teams and prevent them from potentially qualifying? Because Influence Rage will come tomorrow, Mad Bulls is today.
We always theorize this, and it pretty much never happens, right?
But I want to see it!
You want to see it, okay, but other teams going to take that risk? I'm not quite sure. You could do it if you want at the second half of the day. I think now is a bit early to do that. You're safe. You're not 100% safe, so just...
Mad Bulls? You don't...
for Influence Rage, I would just say, just play the half of the day, just chill, normal. Then if you want and see how it happens, I think the earlier you do it, the more responsive teams are going to be to that, and they're going to adapt around you, potentially hot dropping them, right? So if you Influence Rage, Mad Bulls, BTR, maybe you want to take a bit more time before going for a play like that. I don't know who you'd want to pick out. Maybe Rejects, maybe also Gladiators right now could be a team to take down. I don't know. Could be.
I have a thought. I do think Mad Bulls is relatively safe. I mean, considering that I think that the performance will continue here throughout the day. I think if you were going to target anybody based on these two groups alone, I wouldn't even mind looking towards Procedure for on Erangel. If you think about their potential rotational paths from something like Yasnaya going up against kind of Rozhok, sometimes those can potentially clash from time to time, and Erangel is the most, as we all do our little things. Please sir, I want to be next. I think that could be a target. If they were going to do something, I don't know whether they will though.
I'd even go on Alter Ego, to be honest. I think that would be a good team to take down.
Maybe.
They could be a threat.
I mean, that's a good point. If you prevent people from hot dropping you when we get into the last chance stage, then it means your position's going to be a lot cleaner. You're limited in games. You have a better chance of qualifying through. But let's see what's going to break down as we're heading to our first match of the day with Sandhawk. Going to throw it over to our commentators of Jackie and Blink to take it away.
Thank you, Jason. Oh, it's exciting already because I kind of like the way you can see we're all there in anticipation. It was cool. I like the way you kind of had, the we're in school blank. We want to get our opinions.
Oh,
in.
yeah.
Because even me and you were speculating, we're theory crafting. It's sick, man. This week's going to be so damn good. Like, the quality of games yesterday was great. If that carries on, I'm living for it, Blank.
Yeah, I mean, we were having a little chat behind the scenes there. I mean, to be honest with you, there's a lot to talk about here. You have some of these groups here that are now playing their last day. It's Group Green. This is their final day today before we head in towards tomorrow. Everyone gets 2 days of play between both the survival stage and that last chance. And some of the players, some of the teams in Group Green are in real danger right now. It's a stressful experience. You do Alliance, they look happy, they look ready to go, they look very, very excited to get things on the road here. They had a pretty good upwards trend over in their group. Didn't start off so strong, but ended it quite significantly well. Obviously not getting in towards that direct invite stage, but yeah, for Group Green, things do get a little tough here. And we were chatting about, there's really only a couple of teams from Group Green that we actually thought were fairly decent towards the end of it, and it kind of felt like the group of death. But the more we look into it, the more we see there's actually some very, very good teams in some of these other groups that definitely deserve more praise.
Absolutely. I think that's sort of the speculation that we had when we came to this agreement, looking back on it, in retrospect about the rose-tinted goggles, or green-tinted goggles, really, the upper echelons of that group were absolute masterclass, right? Even Reject Tokyo couldn't be lumped in with that, with how well they were playing over that week. But since coming into this, well, hang on a minute, hold that thought. It seems that hot drops are happening, Blank. What's going on here? Straight into the action. Is that Mad Bulls under pressure already?
It is Inco versus Mad Bulls here. And we saw this versus Mad Bulls in the very first day of their group versus Falcons. They lost their hot drop, but they're used to it now. They're expecting something to go off. They've already found one knock off the bat here. Let's see if they can find any more, Jackie.
How far can they go with this then? Fleek getting the reload off instantly, trying to assess the situation. Now, Mad Bulls always feel like they were hit with pressure on Sandhawk. Even back in regulation of Group Green, they were being tested for control. Inco are the ones that are starting to show up here, though. Early damage done. Fleek down by the DBS. Oof. Another knock coming in, Blank. Bit of a trade, but now we're seeing them both be severed. Lots of damage across either squad now.
It was one apiece, but Inco were able to get that res off there. Vitali will finish off Fleek in the meantime. Zerich desperately trying to hold his own. Becker trying to head down the stairs. Nice little peek out coming through from Inco. Only one Mad Bull left remaining, but it's Tulika. He was having a fantastic day yesterday. Not about to let this game slip out of his hands, but he's only got one teammate left to bring up, but a huge amount of damage onto Squash. Last player alive, Tulika. Can he clutch this out?
Oh, Is it going to be burned clutch like a used car salesman? Drop down for Squash, seeing if he can clear his way through as the bullets come flying. Tulika calls for the backup of his teammates, rotating further over so he's got room to try and pick him up later if possible. Doesn't peek off the back of the bait of the movement either, so Squash still holding. Frozen expires, and it's all on Tulika for good. No chance of getting his teammates back, so worst case scenario has happened here. Even if either one of these solos get away and give up the final elim, you have crippled yourself coming into the opening game today. And this is it, Blank. They've got to roll with the punches now.
Yeah, Nima Galaxy also having a little peek in here with Ralph off in the distance alongside of his teammate. So this fight is not going to go well either way for both squads right now. Tulika is on the broadside, will be spotted almost immediately. This shotgun that Squash has found himself alongside with the SK-12 that he's currently holding on to, it is just stressful to deal with now for Tulika indeed. One shot will be enough to take him down unless he's at distance, but for the Mad Bulls, this is still sort of an important fight to win out on, right? You do not want to be losing your spot in Ruins. You don't want people to be feeling like you're an easy prey come towards that direct invite towards the PMGC, that global championship. So for anyone watching, all the other teams are already qualified. You know, Mad Bulls having to put on a bit of a performance here, a bit of a display. Goodbye. And with that, Tulika will move onwards. Ralph takes out the final player there from Inco. Difficult stuff ahead now for Tulika himself. Be moving forward here, Jackie.
Oh man, that is a rough way to start this off, Blank. You know, we're coming into it thinking that we have time to speculate, give a bit of a lay of the land, if you will, for our viewers at home. We got Jason's favourite, just what he ordered, you know, fresh from the oven there, the hot drop specialty. Mad Bulls just walking away with just the one man as well. The worst case scenario, really, Blank. And then a third party to steal that last elim. Ooh, wrap that up in a neat little package. If that isn't a little taster of the sort of shenanigans we're going to be seeing today, then I don't know what would be. You know, maybe like a beef stroganoff.
Yeah, I mean, for some of these teams, some of these squads, right, it was kind of interesting because we were sort of speculating, is Mad Bulls going to be the one to hot drop? In the end, they have to, but it's Inco who does engage that. And I think for Inco, maybe not the greatest thing to happen. I mean, we were talking about how, you know, here on Sandhawk, you do want to try and get as many points as possible, squeeze out as much as possible from this map, because you're only going to see one of it anyway. You don't want to go heavy on these games. Tixie all by his lonesome here. No one else to help him. He's got a DBS versus the three-man squad here of Quest.
Easy, straight around the corner. Easy two-pump, double barrel action. Straight into the face to Kitsune as well. Causes him to go bounding around like a very aggressive bunny rabbit. And he's put the foot down, Blank. At least hits onto a one. The sprint out as well. Basically just offering themselves up as sacrifice there. Those are some freebies for Gladiators. You get the response in as well for the situation. Get everyone back on their feet. You're going to be happy with that.
Yeah, you're going to be really, really pleased with the fact that Tixie's able to hold his own on this compound. It is typically